Scrambling through the ruins of an abandoned Soviet rocket base, 30 Estonian soldiers are training for war. 15 years ago, when Russian troops finally went home, Estonia built an army of its own. But this is not training to fight an old enemy. These soldiers are headed to Afghanistan to fight alongside new allies.
We're a small country, but we're also one member of NATO.
Lieutenant Marek Tidras is preparing for his second tour of duty as part of the NATO coalition forces. Watching the men under his command practice searching for suspects and weapons. Lieutenant Tidras knows from experience that some of what lies ahead fighting the Taliban can't be learned in these snowy woods.
Those cultural differences and the climate, it was nothing compared to our culture.
Estonia first sent troops to Afghanistan in 2002. In 2003, they joined the coalition of the willing in Iraq.
It's good to do work side by side with Americans, with British.
150 Estonian troops are now in Afghanistan. It may seem like a small number until you realize that this is a country with a total population of 1.3 million, about the same size as San Antonio, Texas.
Relatively speaking, Estonia is making a considerable contribution.
Minister of Defense Jaak Aaviksoo says that while other countries put restrictions on where and when their troops will serve, tiny Estonia puts no conditions on its soldiers' deployment.
We don't do cherry picking, looking for the nice, quiet places around, but rather try to make things happen. That means south of Afghanistan and without caveats.
Aaviksoo says that military commitment is in part repayment for America's support when Estonia broke free from 50 years of Soviet rule, an event the country's Prime Minister Andrus Ansip calls a miracle.
When Estonia was occupied, then not so many countries supported the free Republic of Estonia at that time. But the United States of America and some other countries, they never recognized illegal incorporation of free Baltic states into the Soviet Union.
Estonians also see a connection between their long history of occupation and other nations' desire for freedom. You can see the evidence of the people determined to hold on to an independent identity all around the capital city of Tallinn. The wall that surrounds the ancient city of Tallinn is a reminder of just how hard this country has struggled against invasions. In the last century alone, both Germany and the Soviet Union have occupied Estonia.
Our people, they know that freedom is not free. We got huge help when this help was needed for Estonia, and this is our moral duty to help others.
The willingness to fight for freedom means compulsory military service for young men. Service overseas is always voluntary. Even so, the mission in Afghanistan is unpopular. A Defence Ministry survey in 2007 found that more than half of Estonians are opposed to sending their soldiers out of the country. The survey was taken not long after a deadly Taliban attack killed 2 Estonian soldiers and wounded 3 others serving in Afghanistan. Fiona Engel, an army nurse, was one of the injured.
The next thing what I remember that I'm lying down on the ground and these hot rockets are on my back, and then I started to think, I wasn't here. I was in Kampen. How I got here?
Engel lost her right leg below the knee. 2 of her fellow soldiers lost their lives. Estonians honoured their fallen soldiers with a public ceremony attended by the President and Prime Minister. Engel is still grieving for the men who died the day she was injured.
The day before this accident, we planned our vacation because after 3 months we're gonna have this 10 days in Estonia, and we made plans the day before, and the next day Wasn't any plans. No vacation, no plans, no friends.
The first ever amputee in Estonia's military, Engel was able to get her prosthetic leg at Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington, D.C. Today, she's back on active duty on the same base where Estonian soldiers train for duty in Afghanistan, a combat mission made more urgent by Russia's invasion of Georgia, another former Soviet republic, last year.
If, example, Russia is going to attack us, nobody knows when it's going to happen. It happens before, and it can happen like in Georgia. Who stopped them? Nobody, only America.
So while Estonian soldiers train to fight the Taliban, they too know they need allies and partners to hold on to their independence.
You never know when we need to work in our homeland.
Lieutenant Tidris will be back in Afghanistan in May, wearing the flag his father's generation and his country's leaders could only dream would fly over a free Estonia when they were his age.